Following the global flooding events that swallowed the world of Raft, humanity as well as the whole world would have undoubtedly faced a mass extinction event. There is very little known about what happened outside of the minor details we have from the very early days. It's this in-between period leading up to the events of the game that is a mystery. All we can assume is that the world met a watery grave in the dark deep below. The story of Raft would pick up sometime in December of an unknown year. This is the Bird's Nest Crumbles, the lore and story of Raft, Part 2. It started with a mission to save the world. The last hope for humanity would sail over the horizon. A boat would appear with 3 survivors trying to find a specific location, one with an important secret. They would arrive in what is known as the radio tower on December 12th. They were named Cuckoo, Sparrow, and Owl, and these were nicknames for otherwise complete strangers. Their mission required secrecy and was on a time limit. That time limit was unknown because it wasn't known if the waters were still rising. Upon their arrival, they would use the radio tower to try and communicate with a place called Selene. Selene was a facility with many sister locations, all of which were underwater. The nature of Selene was unknown for a long time, until much later. It held a reactor of some kind and was described as the only chance humanity had against the endless ocean. Selene was over 2 weeks away from the radio tower and the team there was not responding. This new team was responsible for assisting the current team at the facility. Otherwise, humanity would lose its only chance at survival. On December 22nd, they would receive a distress call from a place called Balboa. This would be one of many similar signals they would hear. It was apparent to Cuckoo that Sparrow was not talking with the rest of the team. She intentionally kept to herself, the reason for which would be revealed later. This strange behavior would be followed by her disappearance in January. One day, she would leave with the boat, leaving behind Cuckoo and Owl. On January 9th, Owl would note that Cuckoo didn't want to accept the fact that Sparrow betrayed them. This was in fact something that Owl believed. In February, the radio tower team would pick up various signals. There were reported gunshots at a place called Tangaroa on the 9th. Sparrow's comms were active on the 14th, leading them to believe that she made it to Selene. A month after her disappearance, Cuckoo would note additional details of their time at the tower. To start, they weren't starving yet, which is likely because of the endless sea and the fish it provided. There seemed to be a divide between the two on whether Sparrow had betrayed them or not. Cuckoo believed more in the fact that Sparrow knew the importance of Selene, so she went ahead to fix the reactor. He believed there was a good reason for her betrayal and that she was indeed doing what was best for humanity. In the following months, there would be more signals coming from every corner of the world. A distressed call from Varuna Point came in about a missing child on March 6. They received a signal on April 16th about a place rafters were dreaming of, which was called Utopia. Owl, the person noting down all of the radio notes, called Utopia a foolish hope. One day, a signal would come in from a ship called the Vasagaten, and it was full of people in distress. This would be the next destination to explore in the main game's timeline. It is unclear what happened to Cuckoo and Owl after this, but the story of Sparrow and Selene would continue at a later time. Thanks to the notes left behind by Cuckoo and Owl, we have a good look at actual dates and a relative timeline of certain events. Owl's radio notes tells us that the game of Raft takes place after April 16th, probably much later than that. As for what's on the note, I won't go further into the dates relating to the locations visited later in the game. When I get to those locations and their respective videos, I will note the dates recorded in Owl's radio notes. This note is undoubtedly one of the most important ones in the game for keeping track of a relative timeline. While this is just the start of the story of Raft following the global flooding events, it has given us a look at a big piece of the mystery surrounding the events that led to the formation of the Endless Sea. Selene is, according to Cuckoo, an important asset, and the reactor there could be the life raft that humanity needed. At this time, it is unknown what the reactor is needed for, but that will be the topic for a later video in this series. Raft will have many different story threads featuring many different characters, but they all lead to the game's culmination, the answers to the origin of the calamitous floods, and a hope for a brighter, drier future. This concludes The Bird's Nest Crumbles. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or a comment to let me know you want to see more lore videos for Raft. Also, I've been covering the lore for another survival game called The Long Dark. I'll link some of those videos on the end screen if you are interested. Remember what we are fighting for, Forward Scout. I'll see you at the Vasagaten.